Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are today's Top 30 stories in 30 minutes. The Federal Communications Commission has approved new rules that will allow phone companies to block more robocalls. Americans were hit with almost 29 million unwanted calls last year. Now phone companies have the authority to block pointless and annoying robocalls that originate from phone numbers that cannot make outgoing calls, that are from area codes that don't exist, from numbers that aren't assigned to a provider, or numbers that are quite simply not in use. This won't stop all calls, but experts say it is a good start. Although some critics say that because the FCC didn't require phone companies to make these changes for free, the cost could be passed on to customers.
These are your quick hits. The Keystone Pipeline has leaked an estimated 210,000 gallons of oil in South Dakota. Emergency response procedures were activated on Thursday, and crews shut down the pipeline as quickly as they could. The cause is being investigated. Tesla unveiled their new electric semi-truck on Thursday. It'll run 500 miles on a single charge and goes into production in 2019. And their new Roadster is being touted as the fastest production car ever, going from 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. They'll hit the road in 2020, starting at $200,000. So what happens when Luke Skywalker shows up at Disneyland?
Hello, everyone.
The force is definitely strong with Mark Hamill. Tax reform may really be happening after House Republicans passed a tax bill with a vote along party lines. The bill would mean tax cuts on average for all income groups next year. But according to the Tax Policy Center, the biggest benefits go to the wealthiest Americans. Here are some of the key changes in the bill. The number of income tax brackets would be reduced from 7 to 4. The standard deduction would be doubled, and several deductions would be repealed, including state and federal taxes, medical expenses, and alimony. Senate Republicans are creating their own plan, which will have to be reconciled with the House plan before it can go to the president's desk. If you want more details on the House tax plan, go to our Facebook page at Top 30 TV.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for a Fox Business Minute with your friend of mine, Nicole Petlides. Nicole, I'm hearing that Sears is switching it up this holiday season.
That's right, Richard, and Sears wants your business this holiday season big time. The Black Friday deals have started in Sears, and it has marked down nearly everything in the store, up to 50%. It's Kmart brand doing the very same thing with discounts up to 40%. Retailers in general trying to woo customers as more and more folks shop online with Amazon. If you were thinking of getting Amazon's Key service, you may want to listen to this. Security researchers have found that the device can be disabled and even frozen with Wi-Fi, a possible solution, setting up a separate security camera as a backup for Amazon's Cloud Cam. Calvin Klein is teaming up with Amazon Fashion just in time for the holidays. Amazon will begin selling Calvin Klein's latest underwear designs and exclusive Calvin Klein jeans in pop-up shops and online.
What does this mean for other retailers?
Well, Amazon has said that fashion is one of its fastest growing categories, so that puts a lot of pressure on traditional retailers to keep up. Some brands like Nike and Kate Spade sell a limited selection of products on Amazon. In the end, the ones who'll probably feel the blow are department stores, which have typically had first dibs on the latest styles. More Top 30 when we return.
Scientists have discovered a new planet that they think could support human life. It is called Ross 128b, and it's the second closest planet to our solar system, just 11 light years away. Astronomers say it's more or less the same size as Earth and might have a similar surface temperature, which would make it habitable to support life. The study's co-author says the special properties of this system means that we are contributing our bit on the search of an Earth 2.0. Astronomers are excited to continue research on Ross 128b, and it is possible some of us could live there one day. Just as soon as we've cracked the thorny issue of how to travel at the speed of light for 11 years. Kristen, I'm hearing that you've got a great story about a Marine.
Yeah, Richard, it was just a regular Thursday for Rakita Lee until she got this unexpected surprise. That's Rakita's son, Trayvon, surprising her at her Florida home after being overseas for the last 15 months serving with the Marines.
Did you see the way she just threw her purse and phone?
Right? Now that's a mama's love. She posted this emotional 3.5-minute video on her Facebook page earlier this month saying, "My day turned out to be the best day ever," with the hashtag #MyMarineIsHome. Rakita told Top 30, "When he left last year, that was the last time I saw him. He said to come home August 2018. Well, Trayvon had been planning his surprise visit for the last 4 months and will be headed back overseas to finish his deployment December 4th. Rakita, thank you so much for posting this video. And Trayvon, thank you for serving our country.
It's time now for Royal Watch with the Sun. Let's check in with the legendary Arthur Edwards, the Sun's royal photographer for 40 years. Arthur, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back, Richard.
Kate has been out and about this week, and she talks about Prince William struggling with fatherhood.
Yeah, she went to a charity called Family Action, and she was talking to a single father who was telling her how rearing his little 7-month-old daughter was difficult for him. And she said, yes, she said, William, she said, struggled with our children when they were very young. He felt a bit out of it.
People have been talking about Prince Harry's beard this week.
Yeah,
what's the
right.
story?
He was at the Remembrance service at the Cenotaph on Sunday in these Blues and Royals uniform. Now, the Blues and Royals are a very distinguished cavalry regiment. And one of the officers complained, saying that he thought Harry let everybody down because if you're a cavalry officer, it's unheard of to sport a beard. You're clean shaven and looking very smart. I mean, it's not a rule because he's not in the regiment anymore. He's left the army. But if you're wearing that uniform, some people felt they let him down. Now, me, I'm not quite keen on that beard anyway. It's a little bit too ginger for me.
I don't think he's got any choice in the colour of his beard.
No, that's true, no.
Arthur, always a great joy and a great pleasure. All the best with your trip to Antigua, and we'll speak to you next week. Thank you. Every week, we're seeing more powerful men in entertainment and politics caught up in sexual misconduct scandals. Minnesota Senator Al Franken is the latest. Leanne Tweeden accused Franken of groping and kissing her against her will while they were in the Middle East and Afghanistan on a USO trip several years ago. In one photo, Franken appears to be touching Tweeden's chest while she's asleep. Franken later said, "I respect women. I don't respect men who don't. And the fact that my own actions have given people a good reason to doubt that makes me feel ashamed." President Trump tweeted, complete with typos, "The Al Frankenstein picture is really bad. Speaks 1,000 words. Where do his hands go in pictures 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and while she sleeps?" But the president hasn't responded to his own accusers. And he also hasn't said anything about Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore. Moore has been accused of sexual misconduct and assault by a series of women. Some of the incidents happened when they were teenagers. Tweeden said that she finally shared her story about Franken because the tide has turned. In recent weeks, we have seen sexual misconduct allegations against powerful Hollywood figures like Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and Louis C.K.
Titanic is returning to theaters this year for the movie's 20th anniversary. AMC Theaters will show the James Cameron mega hit in limited re-release beginning December 1st. It will run for 1 week. The movie will be shown in 2D and 3D, and it's been remastered in Dolby's ultra high-definition format. Cameron said, "It's beyond anything you've seen before. The image leaps off the screen as bright and vibrant as life itself. This is the way all movies should be seen, and without a doubt, Titanic has never looked better."
I'm the king of the world!
Starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, the 1997 blockbuster remains the world's second highest-grossing film of all time. Even though I still think there was room for Jack on that raft with Rose, my heart will go on, and I will be going to see this again in theaters. A guy named Chip in Wichita, Kansas just got Father of the Year in my book for sticking up for his son in the coolest of ways. 7-year-old Ollie has Down syndrome. Since his birth in 2010, he's had to fight through several surgeries for 2 congenital heart defects. Seeing his son hurdle life's battles like a champ, Chip wanted to inspire him with what most little boys love, superheroes. Chip is a big comic book fan, so he started perusing the pages to find a character that Ollie could relate to. The thing thing is, he didn't find one. He couldn't, because there wasn't one. Well, it takes more than that to stop a determined dad. Chip teamed up with illustrator Kelly Williams to put together a 10-page book called Metaphase. The star was a little boy with Down syndrome named Ollie, who wanted to be a superhero like his dad. He ends up having to make some tough decisions to get his superpowers. Chip said, "I wanted my son to think that he too could dream just as big as I dreamed when I was a little kid." A Kickstarter campaign raised almost 10 grand to get Metaphase published, and they're selling out on Amazon. With his own book at the school library, other students run up to Ollie saying, "It's the superhero kid." Not a bad nickname, and fitting too. Ollie is a superhero, and so is his dad, inspiring others with their real-life story. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, a father who lost his son to a drug overdose has a new mission in life, helping children. Robert Harrison owns the barbecue food truck Extreme Cuisine. It's named after his late son, Tampa area rapper B Extreme. Now Harrison uses his love of cooking to raise money for charities that help kids stay on the right path.
Just trying to get a message to the kids that no matter how talented you are, all you have to do is make one mistake one day and you can lose everything.
In our second story from Fox 32 Chicago, 209 police recruits graduated from the Chicago Police Academy. The increased class size is part of an effort to fight back against Chicago's surging rate of violent crime. At the ceremony, CPD Superintendent Eddie Johnson said, "This next generation of officers and supervisors utilizing the latest technology and training will be a crucial part of our effort to make Chicago safer and rebuild trust with the communities we serve." In our final story from Fox 4 Dallas, Tom and Deborah Youngblood prove it's never too late to marry your high school sweetheart. While they had gone on to marry other people, they always stayed in touch. Now, both in their late 60s, they found themselves single at the same time and ready to rekindle their relationship.
Never give up, and love lasts forever.
Deborah has been spending a lot of time at the hospital battling colon cancer, so they decided to get married and tie the knot in the hospital chapel. Researchers say a new study shows they were able to identify CTE in a living patient for the first time. CTE is caused by repeated hits to the head and can lead to depression, anger, and memory loss. It's been getting headlines lately because the brains of some former football players have tested positive for CTE. But the only way to confirm the disease is examining the brain after death. Doctors say they used new brain scan technology to find evidence of CTE in 14 retired living NFL players. Fred McNeil was one of those players. He recently died, and doctors were able to confirm he did have CTE. Doctors now hope their findings will help diagnose CTE in people while they're still alive.
Many have been left without homes following several natural disasters, including hurricanes and wildfires. But one solution, at least for now, is pretty simple. Go small. Tiny and prefabricated homes provide affordable support and temporary housing for those affected. Some tiny homes are within the budget of somebody receiving disaster relief funding, which is a huge benefit. They have short construction timelines, which is ideal because experts have warned that there are not enough resources to rebuild in a timely manner for everyone who has lost their home. And many of these homes could be easily moved, disassembled, and relocated should another disaster hit and evacuation is necessary.
A study done by Johns Hopkins University says consistent use of light therapy leads to skin improvements like skin textures and increased collagen. New York City aesthetic medicine expert Dr. Z. Paul Lorenk says studies conducted using LED for acne and anti-aging showed significant improvement in both, which is why we've got today's top 30 deal, Truly Clear 2 light therapy device at a special 81% discount. The ultrasonic light therapy device focuses highly effective light beams deep into the skin to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. With consistent use, skin can become firmer and more supple. Lines and wrinkles may be reduced along with signs of aging. The Truly Clear 2 light therapy device retails for as much as $430, but today you can buy it for just $82. That's about an 81% discount. And you can get this right now at top30deals.com while they last. MRI and CT scanners can be scary for children, so industrial designers have done something about it. Machines at 27 children's hospitals have been converted into much less scary and more exciting little adventures for the kids, and they are incredible. GE Healthcare is behind the magnificent remodels, and they say the project started with the idea of transforming the frightening machines into something friendlier for kids. Among the results are a voyage on a spaceship, a deep-sea dive, or a visit to a pirate island. Kathleen Caspin said children would cling to their mom's leg and start crying, and you would have to pry them off. Now they walk in and they are excited. This is so much more than a cutesy idea. It's calming the heart of a child when they need it the most.
Airlines are still losing your bags, but they are not always reporting it. Airlines are required by federal law to report the number of bags they misplace each month. The numbers are required from the paperwork you file when you arrive without your suitcase. Now, some airlines are sending electronic messages that tell flyers their bag didn't make the flight. It's being billed as a win for consumers. You may have lost your bag, but you know straight away, so you don't have to wait in line at the baggage carousel or in one of those horrible luggage officers. But according to the Wall Street Journal, it's also a win for the airlines because no paperwork means no reporting to the Department of Transport. American Airlines rolled out what they call proactive notification in July. The following month, their rate of lost luggage appeared to drop by 32%. Airline representatives denied the notifications were the reason for the improvement and said that they still reported lost bags. A spokesperson for the DOT said they were aware of the loophole and want to update the reporting rules because they are worried that some of the missing baggage numbers have themselves gone missing. Doctors performed a first-of-its-kind procedure attempting to change a man's DNA from within his body. Brian Maddow suffers from a condition called Hunter syndrome, which is an incurable and painful disorder that causes damage to the body's cells. He volunteered for the breakthrough procedure, hoping it could lead to a cure. The process of changing DNA from within the body is obviously very complicated, but here is a basic explanation. Doctors used an IV to insert billions of copies of a corrective gene and genetic tools into his bloodstream. They traveled to the liver and created molecular scissors to cut the DNA. The corrective genes were then able to gain access through that incision. Doctors will monitor Maddow and perform a liver biopsy in 3 months to determine whether the procedure was successful, and that procedure would still have to undergo much more testing before it could be reviewed by the FDA for widespread use. A reported Leonardo Da Vinci original entitled Salvator Mundi sold at auction for $450.3 million. That is the most a painting has ever gone for at auction, but experts in the art world are whispering that the painting may not actually be a Da Vinci. According to Christie's, the painting, which depicts Christ holding a transparent crystal orb in his hand, is the greatest and most unexpected artistic rediscovery of the 21st century. The Washington Post reports that even though there are doubts of the painting's authenticity, by securing a $450 million bid, the auction house authenticated it. However, Jerry Saltz, senior art critic and columnist for New York Magazine, says it's also a sign of a new system of authority, a sad sign of how much power the auction houses have acquired, which must be a boon for people selling things that are not legit. If you can secure enough money for it, it becomes authentic.
Pastor Chris Williams knew the women of Montgomery, Texas needed somewhere reliable to turn for car repairs. After finding a mother and child from his congregation walking in the rain thanks to car troubles, Pastor Chris knew he had to get his idea for a free auto repair garage off the ground. To do this, Pastor Chris borrowed money and pleaded for donations to start up God's Garage, a nonprofit auto repair shop dedicated to helping the women who need it most, like single moms, widows, and the wives of deployed servicemen.
If they can't afford to fix their car, we want to step in and at least provide free labor to get them back on the road.
Since 2012, Pastor Chris and the volunteers who help him have repaired over 200 vehicles and donated more than 100 restored cars to women in need. A stand-up guy doing what he simply was called to do. That's it for today's Top 30. Don't forget, you can get the light therapy device for 81% off at top30deals.com. And on our next show, NASA conducted a new study to make sure the Earth has enough food to feed a growing population. We'll have the surprising results. Major League Baseball is trying to get to the bottom of a new controversy, so they're hiring a team of scientists. We'll have the latest. And you'll hear about a group of cosmetology students that came up with a way to give back by helping female cancer survivors look their best. These stories and more are coming up on the next Top 30.